You're listening to This Week in Real Estate with your host, Rob Golfi. Brought to you by the Golfi Team at REMAX Escarpment, featuring Conrad Zerini, broker-owner of REMAX Escarpment Realty Inc., and Brian Hogben, owner of Mission 35 Mortgages. Let's hear what's going on in real estate this week.
How'd you like that?
Nice.
Love it.
Good picture of you guys, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Are you wearing contacts now?
Who caught me? No, I'm wearing no glasses.
You wear no.
No, you know what? I only use them for distance. So when I'm
Oh, is that
close, I'm
right?
like, you're too close to me now.
Oh,
I have to
gotcha.
wear glasses on.
Yeah. I need glasses to read everything, so I'm not wearing my readers because I'm still feel I'm too young, but I'm not young, but to wear glasses like for reading. But anyway,
I feel the same way, Rob.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, exactly.
I got a prescription pre-COVID, March of 2020. I still haven't filled it yet because I just refuse to get those glasses.
I'm telling you, wait till you hit. I think it starts at somewhere in your 40s, early 40s, mid 40s, where your eyes start going a little bit. And because you do, the more reading you do, it just, I don't know what it is, but I want to say, everybody, thanks that's listening in on live. I just want to introduce Conrad Zerini, owner, broker of record, and of REMAX Escarpment and REMAX Niagara throughout the Hamilton, Halton, Niagara region. And we got Brian here with Mission 35 Mortgages. This guy knows his stuff, and he can answer any questions that you have for him. So what I wanted to get started on is, see, I need my glasses here. So Conrad, so I'm finding out in the market right now, less homes are selling. Okay. The market's still holding its prices. Burlington, I saw it did a little jump just in the first 2-3 weeks. I went from the 20th. Now, are we in a normal market, or we still got things to go? Because I know last year that spring market slid right into the summer market, and their numbers were super high in the summer and basically the second half of the year last year. I don't know if we can meet those numbers again, but do you think, because the numbers are down in unit sales, you think we're going back into a normal, regular market?
Well, in the last 18 months or during the whole COVID period, we've gone. I think we've seen about 4 or 5 different types of markets in such a condensed period of time. And if you look at this year, we went from like white hot at the beginning of the year to red hot to moderate hot, moderate heat. Then now everybody's out and about. Now we've opened up. Things have changed, a couple of rule changes, got people thinking a little bit, but, from our appointment standards, because we really look at appointments, Rob, that's our big thing. We saw a dip when things were starting to slow down, like negative appointments. Now we've been, the last couple of weeks, we've been up 15% 2 weeks ago. Last week we were up 8% in appointments. So it's starting to gear up a little bit again.
Yeah,
I think it's like I said last week, it's a great opportunity. Nationally, the numbers are different though. So, they've seen an average price nationally drop down since, I would say, May, no question, but we're not seeing that kind of number loss or ground loss. And you're right, Burlington is inched up a little bit even. So
yeah, I was surprised to see that. So, people always ask me, how is next year? Hey, if I bought a house in March and April, that was a crazy months of this year, will I gonna feel bad and think I overpaid? I said, not long. And next year, I said, within 2 years, even next year, I think they'll be happy that they bought the house no matter what price they paid for it. But I know we only got a short time. So Brian, I got a question here that this is even for myself and everybody else out there. So, okay, a legal duplex. I have a client that wants to buy a legal duplex, but he's got 3 units in the building. Okay. Now we know one is not valid or legal. How does mortgage companies, can you use that third income apartment as part of making the deal happen for approval for financing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we see that all the time in Hamilton, with our old Victorians, they're chopped up, legal, not legal. Another question that comes in a lot is whether it's retrofit now. And the answer is yes and no. I'll be as clear as I can. Yes and no. And the reality is that with certain lenders, some of the banks, they will end up saying, no, we want to see it legal. And the reason being is because they say if Johnny Bylaw's walking along and he sees the illegal third unit and it gets shut down, if the banks use that income to qualify, they're going to say, how can you afford it now? However, there are some lenders that we use trust companies and credit unions. They have a little bit more leniency. They might charge a little bit more for the mortgage, but their only requirement is to say, hey, do you have a separate entrance? Does it have a kitchen? Does it have a bathroom? Like, is this legit another unit? And those companies will use that income. You do need to have 20% down in those cases to have that leeway. And you might pay a point or a point and a half premium to get that mortgage.
Right. So in essence, it does help. And now, Conrad, does that also affect the cap rate? Like, do you go by the cap rate when you're buying this as as an investor? Like legal duplex, this is the income, but with the third one, now, like Brian was saying, you get Mr. Bylaw guy walk by, that can change things.
Well,
so
yeah,
like how does that when you think when you're listing a property, how do you figure the cap rate? Do you figure it on the 2 or the 3 or both?
Yeah, and I think you do it on the 2, and the third is a bonus.
Yeah,
you know, like the topic we're going to talk about in a few minutes about pools. As prices change and things like that, I think lenders have to come to the table and be a lot more creative. I think in terms of that, and buyers are going to be that much more creative in terms of what they do. Right. So that third unit could be a short-term rental, Airbnb kind of thing. That kind of stuff. So I think all these things are going to come into play. Like the COVID had its negatives, but it has its positives. And I think a lot of lenders are going to be shifting and changing and looking at income sources from all kinds of things you can do with your home. Right.
Oh, yeah.
One of the leniencies I've seen, to your point, Conrad, there is the in-law suite. Yeah. So it's not a legal duplex, but listen, people need the income to help qualify today to get into the housing market. We're seeing a lot of banks say, hey, we're saying no to the illegal third unit, but if you got an in-law, we'll use the income to help you qualify. Because you live there, you can manage it a little bit better. Your boots on the ground there. Yep. And it's not legal, but you got a separate basement entrance. The banks, you can actually use the in-law income with some banks with as little as 5-10% down. So I think that's a cool thing that's come into play that's really helping those, first-time buyers get in, have a little bit of income, and be able to qualify because you need that income to get into those price points.
There was a duplex, and it was a legal duplex. I think if it was Catherine Street, right by the in Corktown. You get done to the nines, 1.3 million.
Jesus.
Now, I would never have guessed it would sell for that much. There's no way it qualifies whatever the rent is taken. So obviously it was owner occupied, and then it got the second unit because it just threw it out. I was shocked. I thought it was, maybe 1 million, 1.1, but I did not think it would get to 1.3. It went into multiple offers. Beautiful property, garage, sunroom, nicely built, any money that was put in this place, it was done to the nines. So, but speaking of the nines, did you see this website, Swimply? Did you see it, Brian?
I had a quick look at it. Yeah. Where you could actually rent out your pool, right? Like it's kind of.
Any of you guys have pools in your backyard?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I have a pool. So I thought people get pools because they want the privacy. I thought I couldn't believe it. And then I went on there and I searched Niagara and Hamilton and Halton. You got to see Oakville, Burlington, Hamilton, St. Catharines, everywhere. There's people renting out their pools. I don't even know how people found that site.
Listen, I'm the guy who loves to rent out everything. I'm like the Hamiltonian who will rent out his front lawn during a Tiger Cat game. I am cool with that. I actually rent out 2 spots on my driveway to cars for nurses that work at St. Joe's.
Oh, cool.
But I am not renting out my pool.
I couldn't believe it.
I gotta ask you guys this: where are you going to the bathroom?
Well, they said that you have 8.
Where are you going to the bathroom?
You have to give access. 85% do give access. You don't have to. And if you don't give access to a bathroom, well, obviously, you know where they're going to the bathroom, but you can only rent it out for an hour, right? Because
well, no, I think
use their own facility.
Right. So can you rent out the backyard for 4 hours? Like it's $50 an hour or $30 an hour, depending on the pool and the condition and everything else.
As long as there's access to a bathroom, you can do it for 4 hours. Yeah, it's crazy. There's 10,000 pools in the U.S. that are on that system. 10,000.
Unbelievable. So I called a personal injury lawyer, and on the site it says that they have $1 million liability. For anything happens to any of the people that are renting, and I guess they sign a waiver that they can't go after the homeowner, right? But we know personal injury lawyers, they go after everybody. And so I called him and I said, if you were going to somebody renting a backyard, they came to you, they tripped, they fell, and now they're paralyzed. Do you just go after the company that had this Swimply, or do you go after the homeowner? He goes, we go after everybody. Everybody. So I call the insurance company, and my insurance company, I said, if I rented out my backyard, do I have to get additional insurance? He goes, Rob, you better get additional insurance because you're going to lose all your equity in your home, because if there's ever a lawsuit. Now, that additional insurance can cost a lot of money. Now, would it be the same thing as Airbnb, like renting a house with a pool, or would it be, but just renting the backyard? I don't know. I don't know. Why? I just don't get it. I guess people don't use their backyards anymore like they used to.
Well, you got kids that moved out and the pool just sits empty.
Yeah.
You had people that, weren't working during the pandemic, right? They needed extra income. So that's what they were doing for that. So, listen, guys, it's the gig economy, right? This is what's happening. Who would have thought Uber would have done what it's done and all that? So, like I said, everything's on the table, and there'll be a great insurance product for this. Or just give everybody a helmet.
That's it. Yeah.
I think it's really got to be that risk and reward.
Oh,
the risk doesn't meet the reward there, right? The risk of $50 for what could possibly happen. Now, the $80 I get a month for my driveway, I'll take that risk. But the $50 for an hour in the pool, that's not even paying. What's that paying for? I think that's way too much risk. And
I agree with you. I don't think I'd take that risk, and I think people that are getting involved in it, I don't think they're really reading the fine print on this thing, and they're not talking to a lawyer because they're still going to be on the hook if anything happens. Because if some kid trips and he's paralyzed, and he's 18 years old and he's paralyzed for the rest of his life, guess what? $1 million ain't going to cut it to with legals and compensation for that kid. So they definitely are got to read the fine print on that.
And I wonder who's renting them. You think I wouldn't rent to me at 18? That's for sure. No. I wouldn't rent out somebody's pool to me at 18. There's no way.
No kidding. Oh, I know. But anyway, that's just what's going on. So, Brian, interest rates. What's going to happen?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, you know what? We're still historic lows right now, and I think it's the time to take advantage of the cheap money. The States, there was an article today. They're calling for increasing the rates sooner than later. It was originally the end of 2022. Now they're bringing that back to fall of 2022. The reality is we could see it sooner than fall of 2022 because people are spending money. Inflation's going up. One of the ways to counteract that is to increase the rates. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it a lot sooner. So, we're telling people right now, you got a pre-approval, get into that market, lock into that cheap money because that later is going to be sooner than you think for the rates going up.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
And wouldn't you say 1% increase in rates is 10% loss in value that they can buying power?
Yeah, it's approximately.
Is it 10% loss in value? Okay.
Buying power. So the 1% increase means you have 10% loss in purchasing power.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because if rates go up, do they increase the stress test rate again? Because right now we're sitting at 5.25, 5.24 for the stress test rate, but you're still getting rates in the 2s. So I'm hopeful that if we see a small bump in rate, they're not going to move it directly in proportion to the rate increase. Because like you said, Con, it'll be poor. It'll be tough for people to get approved for more when those rates go up.
For sure. And that'll definitely slow down the market. There's no doubt. Yeah. But right now, money's cheap. That's what's driving the market. Wait till the immigrants come in next year when things really open up. It's just gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, listen. Thanks for coming on. And listen, if anybody's looking for getting mortgages, Call Brian at mission35.com, mission35.com. And Conrad, thanks again, buddy. I love
Always
that
a pleasure.
you're always knowing what the stats are. That's perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
Have
Rob.
a great weekend, guys. Take
You
care.
too. Take
Okay,
care.
you too.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Enjoy your pool.
Thanks. You too.